So I'm about 4 years into this journey. We're recording this. It's the very end of April, beginning of May, depending how you slice it. And in June, as of the first week in June, I will be 4 years on my own. And probably like many of your listeners, my job and like my business has morphed a lot in those 4 years. And there's been a few iterations of it. And I had another baby this past year. So she's 11 months old now, just about to be 1 year old.
Hell yeah.
And
congrats.
Thank you. And as part of that, like many parents, I just realized I have less time. And it's like, I have less time. I have less energy to be working after hours and on the weekends, and I need to be more efficient. And it's like, do I have the right business to support the life that I want? Like the life that I want, I think looking ahead isn't to be the person who's like the super high ticket on a million Zoom calls, making 7 figures, but like in meetings all day, every day. Like that to me is not success. And so when I think about the business and the life that I want, what I'm really after is, and I did this exercise where I tried to think through what would be the ideal week. And so for me, it was like, what I really enjoy doing is talking to people. I enjoy creating content. I enjoy helping people at scale. And I do like some one-to-one stuff. And I try to think through what would an ideal week look like? Well, it would look like maybe a couple coaching calls, but maybe one a day, a little bit lighter lift. And it would be more focused on creating content. And so I try to think through, well, what could that business look like? And so for me, I think it looks like scaling my podcast and getting some sponsorships, and to really see if there's a future where my content and sponsorships could make 80% of my income, and my one-to-one, like selling dollars for time, could make up much smaller percentage. And so that's where I'm headed. And I'm many steps away from that. But the first step for me this year was to see, could I get to a place where maybe half of my income would be sponsorships versus services? And that's the goal that I have in front of me. And that's some of the moves that I'm making right now.
How far towards that goal are you?
I'm on the journey. So I shared with you a revenue goal that I won't share publicly just because it feels like a personal goal that I'm happy to share privately to folks. But I have a revenue goal in mind. And as I said, I want to make half of that from services, half from sponsorships and media and programs, one-to-many stuff. So I am on pace, if not slightly ahead of pace on the services half. And I'm at 50% of pace on the other side. So I got some work to do on that side of the business. And that's where my focus is.
And what are you doing though to, like, what types of things are part of the partnerships and sponsorship stuff? Because I think that's the side of this work that everyone thinks is arguably the easier side. Because they're like, oh, like build an audience, get some sponsors, like do a couple posts on LinkedIn, you'll make some money, like life is good. But I think that is arguably the harder way to build a business. How's that working for you? Or what types of things are you doing to be able to generate that revenue, I guess?
The primary thing that I can sell would be sponsorship or ambassadorship via my podcast and Substack list. I'm really not into pay to play on LinkedIn. Like, I'm sure that there could be money to be made there. But when I think about long-term as a business owner, that to me is just not interesting. I'd rather promote my own stuff. Like, it's hard to promote on LinkedIn. It's hard to get noticed on LinkedIn. It's hard to break through the clutter. And if I'm going to do all that effort, I want to be promoting my own shit. And so, like, just to put it how it is. And so candidly, I'm making my own programming, and primarily I'll use LinkedIn to promote that and do all that stuff. On the other side of things, what I try to do, and I've done a mix of outbound and inbound for this, but I try to find companies where either I'm a former customer, where I know the audience is aligned because I was the audience and I was the customer, and I reach out to those folks, or I try to create relationships with those folks and then find ways to partner with them where they'll sponsor my media and we can find a win-win scenario. Sometimes I've created content for them or like in partnership with them. Like, I've done some cool stuff with AppQs where they make user onboarding software. I talk a lot about new user onboarding. I created a program that they use, and they use it as a lead magnet, and they put some paid dollars behind it. And I've helped to amplify that a little bit. And that's like kind of a cool way where I created something with them. They get a bunch of leads that they can nurture. They can track the conversion from lead to sale. And then I also talk about that on my pod and in my newsletter and things like that.
All right. I like this is like a different approach to what is like a more conventional type of engagement where people are like, all right, we need a 60-second ad read in the beginning of your podcast. We need like 50 words at the end of your newsletter, like kind of the more basic stuff that people think about.
And I try not to sell it that way. So I only reach out to companies where I know the space super well. And ideally, I've used the product. And then that way, it's not an interruption with me sharing some like super hokey, clearly pre-written ad thing. And I could talk more about, hey, when I was leading growth, I had these challenges and I use this tool and I'm super excited to be partnering with this company because I think you should be using this tool. And here's the things that are exciting about it. And here's a Andrew branded link so that hopefully I get a little attribution credit. And it's more of that, which feels better.
Yeah, totally. No one wants, because you know how many people are peddling junk they've never used and stuff like that. It's like, and that's your reputation and your credibility.
100%.